After releasing atrocious sequels during the past couple of years, Disney just released another goddamn sequel. But this time, it's a movie that is worth being made in the first place. Why? Well, because Zootopia, the original, is a great movie that introduced a unique world full of potential stories to tell. And so, in my eyes, Zootopia 2 is a sequel worth being made. And that is something that you will rarely hear from me, especially when it comes to a Disney movie made during this past decade. And on that note, hi everyone, I hope y'all are doing fine. In today's video, I will be giving you guys my opinion on Zootopia 2. And now, enough yapping said, let's start this video. Spoilers alert for Zootopia 2. So this new Zootopia movie is surprisingly good. It's not mind-blowingly good or whatever, but it's a fun movie. I enjoyed my first watch time through it. This movie is pretty similar to the previous one, because both of them pretty much use the same formula. Both stories are investigations about a specific group of animals, with a plot twist villain at the end. But this time around, it's the reptiles that are in danger. Not gonna lie to y'all, reptiles aren't my favorite type of animal, so the idea of making the story about reptiles wasn't really attractive to me. But you know what? I'm happy to say that Disney proved me wrong. They were able to make the reptiles' situation in Zootopia a major social issue, and that made me attached to this kind of character. The intrigue was about stopping the Lynxley family from expanding their territory and deporting the reptiles, which is an issue with high stakes in the world of Zootopia. Before going to the theater, I was expecting this movie to have high stakes, because in my opinion, if you're making a sequel, you should make it bigger than the previous one. And so, was this sequel able to replicate or enhance the stakes of the previous one? In my opinion, I believe it did. In the first movie, the story was more about dividing society into two categories, which is reminiscent of like racism in our world. In this new one, it's more about deportation and corruption, which I think are themes that successfully replicated the stakes of the first movie. Were they addressed correctly? Well, I think this movie was a bit too subtle with these themes, but overall, it led to a solid story. Talking about the story, what did I think of it? Well, apart from the themes of it, I think the story itself was just fine. It's not incredible or whatever, but it makes for a fun adventure. There are so many details that I found really out of place. But hey, I'm just a grown man criticizing a kid's movie. I think I'm gonna choose to let these details slide, because it's a fucking movie made for children and furries, but let's not talk about that. The investigation itself was the weaker part of the story for me. I wasn't really interested by the leads and the mystery surrounding the investigation. What I think was the strongest part of the story was Nick and Judy's relationship. They started the story on great terms, but during the events of the story, they started to have differences, which led to a separation. And when they reconciled, they decided to accept these differences and move on. The point of this relationship in this movie was to show that not everyone is perfectly similar and that we don't need to be to have a strong relationship with someone. In the first movie, they started their story on different terms and ended up completing each other. Here, in the sequel, they found out that they are not as similar as they thought, but they have to accept these differences. And I think that this moral in particular is really nice and important in our society. This movie has a lot of great intentions that are well shared, and the end, well, I think it was satisfying enough. It left a great conclusion concerning Nick and Judy's relationship and the fate of the reptiles, and I didn't feel like I wasted my time watching this movie. Now, let's talk about the new characters from the movie. What do I think of them? Well, first off, let's talk about the character that was annoyingly promoted everywhere during the promotion for this movie. Gary the Snake. This character, in my opinion, was the weakest of the movie. The movie tried to make the audience attached to his story and decided to make the intrigue all about it. Did it work? Well, Yes and no. Yes, it worked because his story led to a bigger social issue within the reptile community. No, it didn't work because his character is a bit weird to follow. What's strong about him is his purpose, but what's weak about him is his personality. Do you follow me here? I wasn't really attached to his character because I found some of his choices weird and hard to follow. He didn't give me enough time to really appreciate his personality. I only appreciated his dedication to a bigger cause. Something that I'm thankful for was that they didn't make this character an annoying comedic relief. He has the perfect balance between humor and emotions, which is something that I can't really say for Nibbles Maple Stick. This character scared me at first because I thought that she would be the annoying comedic relief of this movie. And you know what? Disney proved me wrong again. She wasn't too much of a comedic relief to the point of becoming annoying because of it. Unlike a certain character in Kung Fu Panda 4, for example. Genuinely one of the worst kids movie that I have ever seen, by the way. Maple Stick was important to the plot of the movie and didn't feel annoyingly highlighted, you know? She helped the plot to go forward in a good way and introduced us, the viewers, to a part of Zootopia we haven't seen before, which is what I expect from sequels. So, her character didn't really have any emotional impact. She was mostly there for the comedic aspect of the movie, and I think it was correctly done. Now, I want to talk about Robert Lingsley, the plot twist villain of the movie. Honestly, this movie used the plot twist villain concept really better than with Bellwether in the first one. Here, Robert actually had comprehensible motives, and it made sense, unlike Bellwether. My only problem with his character is the lack of complexity with his motives. In my opinion, a great villain is someone that isn't necessarily all bad, but has motives that led them to become bad, an evolution towards it. If you want your villain to be bad, you have to go all in with it. Here, I feel like they started the movie by making him a character with a complex relationship with his family, but ended the movie by making him devoted to them. I think his character would have been much better if he was struggling between helping Gary and making his family proud. I think it would have been more interesting and would have made us more attached to him, you know? But hey, again, it's a child movie, so why am I even complaining about this? And finally, the last two new characters that I wanted to talk about are Mayor Windancer and Milton Lingsley. I have to talk about them at the same time because I respect the way they have been used together. Milton is clearly evil and only wants his family to be on top of everyone else. And the movie demonstrates how powerful he is by showing how the mayor isn't even the one pulling the strings, because it's actually Milton who forces him to make some decisions and who chose him to be the mayor in the first place. I don't think developing Windancer's character more would have improved the movie because I think his character's purpose was correctly used. Now that I have talked about the characters, let's move on to the rest of this movie's characteristics. The humor was great. I really liked some of the jokes and they were fun to watch throughout the events of the story. The colors were also beautiful. Nothing to complain about here. And same goes for the animation. The sound design was goofy from time to time, but was overall really immersive. The dialogues were fine. A bit corny, obviously, because it's a Disney movie, but were great for the target audience, let's say. I like that they didn't go full on Netflix mode, where the characters describe loudly everything they do. They let the visual speak for itself, which is a decision that I respect a lot. The Zebros are also funny as hell. I love them so much. Gazelle still has no major importance to the plot, but at least she wasn't being glazed by literally everyone anymore, which is something that I found useless in the previous movie. And so, with all that said, what is my overall opinion on Zootopia 2? Zootopia 2 is a fun movie with great morals and likable characters. Its story is a fun adventure that makes the audience discover a part of Zootopia that they haven't seen before. The movie has an emotional journey throughout its main character's relationship, which I find to be the strongest part of it. The characters we meet throughout the movie all have a purpose and are likable enough. The final plot twist is better than in the previous movie, even if it could have been more developed. And so, with all that said, I will give Zootopia 2 a 7 out of 10. I personally enjoyed the first one more, but it's a solid sequel that didn't disappoint me. Also, let me ask you something. Am I the only one who thinks that Nick and Judy are really the ones causing chaos in the city and that kind of agrees with what the police says? Like, this might be a hot take, but not gonna lie, they are really causing chaos throughout the events of the movie. But hey, at least it makes the movie captivating. Oh, I almost forgot. What the f happened to Chief Bogo? What did you guys think of Zootopia 2? Tell me your opinions in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to this channel. It really helps small creators like me. Leave a like or a dislike if you want, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya!